Hey everyone, I'm Kate Kennedy and I'm here with day 21 of 100 Days of Kane, PA. And today we're going to talk with Melanie Clay, who has made a decision with her family to stay in Kane. She's not from here, but they moved here years ago and are raising their family here and are actively involved in the community. And so today she's going to share some stories about why she loves Kane and about a great project that she's been involved with called KARE for Kane. So I'm going to go ahead and flip you around. And here we have Melanie Clay. Hi, Mel.
Hey, how are you, Kate?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're really excited to talk with you because we've talked with a lot of people who have been born and raised here, but there's something really special about people who choose this place to live. So could you kind of briefly tell us how you ended up in Kane?
Sure, absolutely. So I grew up in central Pennsylvania. My husband grew up in between State College and Altoona. We met in Pittsburgh and we ended up in Frederick, Maryland. I worked at a college there. He had recently graduated from law school and ended up taking a job at the McKean County Courthouse as assistant district attorney. When he told me we were moving to McKean County, I thought at that point I had a good handle on Pennsylvania and all of Pennsylvania, but I knew nothing about McKean County, so I wasn't quite sure what we were getting into. I did a lot of research online, ended up, coming up here. We went back and forth for some time and we ended up living in Smethport because that's where the courthouse is. When I was in Smethport, I made a connection with somebody who was involved in the Kane Chamber of Commerce at the time. And he recommended that I interview for the executive director of the Kane Area Development Center job that Kate is doing such an excellent job at today. And so I did, and I started working as the director of the Kane Area Development Center. And it was within weeks that I knew that I wanted to kind of uproot from Smethport and move to Kane. I just found that as an outsider working in a position like this, the community was so incredibly welcoming to me. We made a lot of friends very quickly, made a lot of great connections very quickly, and found a house that we love, and ultimately moved into Kane.
So when was that? What year did you move here?
We bought our house in 2011.
Okay, so you've had a significant amount of time here.
Yep.
And in your first year of this position that I am currently holding, that you've been doing such a great job of mentoring me, and so thank you for that. The first year, though, you started something along with the community called KARE for Kane. Could you share about that first year and kind of how that came about?
Yeah, sure. So KARE for Kane came about for kind of two reasons. The first is I mentioned that when I started in this position, people had taken me under their wing and really were very welcoming to me. And one person was Jim Salvamoser, who was a member of the Kane Area Industrial Development Corporation Board and also on Kane Borough Council. I think he served something like 16 years on Kane Borough Council. Jim would come in, he would drive me around the community, he would introduce me to people. And the thing about Jim that was so cool is that if Jim saw that there was a project in the community that needed to be done, he didn't wait, he didn't ask other people to do it. He would go out, get the resources he needed to go out and complete the project. And so it wasn't rare for you to find Jim out at the Welcome to Kane signs, landscaping or painting or connecting people to projects. And so I thought that was really cool that somebody had, that kind of gumption to go out and complete projects to benefit the community.
Yeah, I've heard his name a lot in the same exact way you're describing him. Yeah. What a special legacy for him to have left.
Absolutely. Jim was a special guy and we had a great relationship. I was lucky to know him. But also, I worked in an economic development organization in Pittsburgh, right in Oakland, where the University of Pittsburgh is. And the University of Pittsburgh every year participated in an event called the United Way Day of Caring, which is a big United Way event in October that matches volunteers to projects in the community. And so University of Pittsburgh employees would come into my organization and complete projects for us. They would volunteer for us. And I loved seeing people who work together come into the community to A, make a difference, and B, work together doing something that's maybe outside of the scope of what they do in their day-to-day lives. And so I think that kind of Jim's mentorship and then, paired with my experience with the United Way Day of Caring in Pittsburgh, that's what kind of was the impetus for KARE for Kane here.
Yeah, and that really is true that you can build a special type of relationship with a person by doing work side by side in a way that you can't just by doing the day-to-day office work that they might be doing regularly.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Care for Kane, what we do is we collect projects from the borough, the Parks Commission, local nonprofits, and churches, and we fundraise to raise money for supplies and materials. And then we also have supplies donated. And then people sign up to volunteer. And in that first year, we held the event on a Friday, and that's when it's held, to encourage businesses to let their employees out for part of the day or all day to complete these projects together as a team.
Is there somebody that was particularly helpful for you those first couple of years?
Yeah, so Kathleen Pressberry was an AmeriCorps volunteer at the school district, and Kathleen helped me plan the first 2 years. And Kathleen is really the first person who made the connection between the school district and Care for Kane, helping to get student volunteers out of school to help complete projects, which has been awesome and continues to be a big legacy and part of Care for Kane.
Yeah, it's so much fun to see little kids, like from preschool age all the way up to senior citizens, pitching in together to get things done around the town. So,
absolutely. Getting the kids involved is so important. On Care for Kane, we get our kids out and we have them pick up litter, and it's so important for them at a young age to see that you can make a difference in the community, and you should use your talents to make a difference in the community.
Yeah, and doing it alongside so many people is just exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so that first year, can you tell us a little bit more about what that looked like?
Yeah, so when I first started to talk with people about Care for Kane, they thought I was crazy. The head of the borough crew, Beanie, he was like, this is never going to work. You'll never pull this off. And Mayor Schimpf just did an interview with the Hound earlier before Care for Kane this year, and even the host of the radio show made a comment like, I remember the first one, I didn't know how you were going to pull it off. So a lot of people weren't quite sure how it was going to work.
It's a big goal.
Yeah, but the businesses were so wonderful in donating money so that we could get the materials we needed to collect to complete the projects. We use the community center every year as a hub. And so they're helpful, and everybody pitches in their own way. The Rotary, they donate lunch every year, so the community comes together for lunch. But that first year, when we set it up, we had the community center as a hub, and everybody would come in and they'd collect their supplies and projects and go out. And that was neat to see people in and out and come together as a community. The community center was, kind of a central location for people to meet up. But I just look back in my, old newspaper articles, we had 240 volunteers in that
That's
first year.
Huge.
Which far exceeded my expectations.
Wow. How were you, what did you think and feel?
I couldn't believe it. And the really amazing thing is, and it's the reason I love the community so much, is that's how people are here, genuinely are here, is that so many people step up around this community. They use their talents to make a difference and make the community better. It's very rare. I've worked in community development in a lot of different places, you think about other towns, and it's rare to find people care so much about their community that they donate their time and resources the way that they do here. Mm-hmm. The second year, I read an article, we had more than 400 people pre-registered for the event. And then our 8th year was our biggest year. We had 625 people come out and volunteer during Care for Kane.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And what a great opportunity. Like we were saying, when you're doing work alongside people, maybe you don't normally do work alongside, it builds relationships
Absolutely.
in a way that's really special.
Absolutely.
And so it just makes the community feel even closer and tighter than we already are.
Absolutely. I think everybody in the community, they want to get involved and they want to step up. And a lot of times they don't know how, they don't want to step on toes, or they don't want to do something wrong. So Care for Kane really gives them the ability to go out and make a difference. And it's amazing to see how many people want to step up and do that. The volunteers during Care for Kane are incredible.
Have there been any memories or specific examples of things that have happened over the years that you've been involved with Care for Kane that really stand out?
A couple things. In addition to the numbers, I think the really cool thing about Care for Kane is how it's evolved since its first year. What's happened is we led the first two, and then Erin Vasello, she came in as executive director, and she added her own flavor to the event. And then after Erin, the CARE board took the program and ran with it, and they made some changes to it. This year, for the first time, a couple of things happened. One, some non-CARE board members, people in the community who expressed interest in getting involved, stepped up and really drove the project this year. We had a lot of new faces involved in the planning of Care for Kane this year. They did an awesome job, and they brought a lot of cool things to the table. And then in addition to that, Mayor Schimpf and Tanya Hartzell planned a community resources fair in the community center at the same time. as a way to connect the community to resources in the county, and then also to volunteer opportunities at those nonprofits and services organizations. And so my favorite thing about Care for Kane is as new people get involved, the process evolves. And I think that's so wonderful. And I encourage anybody who's interested in getting involved in Care for Kane or CARE or the borough or anything to just get involved, because you all have talents and you all bring something to the table.
Yeah, well, I think that's such a great idea, and it must be exciting to see that it's still continuing, because next year will be year 10?
The 10th year, yeah.
Oh,
it'll
it's going
be
to be a big
one.
deal.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's
okay,
crazy.
And so you've moved on from this job, obviously, and yet you're still here in Kane. What are some of the things that you and your family like to do in Kane, or some things that really stand out to you or are special about this place?
Yeah, so a couple of things. We love the access to the outdoor recreation. We love to hike, cross-country ski. We like to go up to Holiday Valley and ski. We love to be on the reservoir, boating, swimming, kayaking. We took our family fishing on the 4th of July for free fish day. That was the best. Stuff like that. We just love to do, and it's great to have the access. The other thing is we've lived in cities. I lived in Pittsburgh for a number of years. I lived in Frederick, Maryland, and I was in Pittsburgh last week, and I love to visit Pittsburgh, but I love how simple it is here. Do you know what I mean? Everything is so simple. I feel like living here, you have a really high quality of life because you're just not kind of stressed out all the time. It's just a wonderful way of life. Our friends and neighbors are amazing. Couldn't live in a better neighborhood or have better friends. You really find people who care about you and are there for you. And that's such a wonderful thing.
Do you have any examples of a way that you felt like that the community was there for you during a time?
Yeah. So my husband and I and our 2 kids, my son Andrew was a month old. We were in a car accident on Route 6, and thankfully nobody was seriously hurt, but it was a scary thing for us. And neither of us are from here. Our families came up to check on us and that kind of thing. But it was amazing that when we would go to the grocery store, people we didn't even know would check in on us, see how we're doing, and let us know that they were thinking of us. And we've run into that a lot here. We didn't grow up here. We're not from here, but the people here have been so caring and welcoming. It's unbelievable. It's unbeatable. Living here is unbeatable. We love it very much.
If someone was on the verge of moving here, what would you tell them?
I'd tell them to come here, visit Kate. She's very welcoming, and she can hook you up with a lot of information about where to go and a lot of resources. And get involved. I think, when we moved to Smethport, I was nervous that I wasn't going to be able to find work, and I was nervous I wasn't going to be able to make connections. And so I started volunteering for the Woolly Willy Wonder Days. And that's how I made the connection here, to take the job here. And I think that's the biggest thing. When you move to a new community, the best thing you can do is figure out how you can get involved and make a difference in the community, because it's a great way to make connections and learn about the community and really get vested in where you live.
Gosh, you're such a great example of that. You're so involved, and you are making a huge impact, not just for the town, but by what you're teaching your kids. You and Phil both are doing such a great job of modeling what you're just saying right now. So thank you so much for all that you give. You are one of us.
Oh, thanks, Kate.
And is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap up?
No, this 100 days is great, though, guys. Keep watching. It's awesome. As awkward as I feel right now, it's a really cool thing to be able to come on and talk about, what I love about Kane. So if you have a story to share, I think you should contact Kate and share it.
Oh, Mel, thank you so much. You did an excellent job. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. What an inspiring story of Care for Kane and how that got started, and how people that move here can feel so welcomed in this community. So thank you guys for making it such a welcoming place. And I'd love for you to share any stories of the ways that you've gotten involved in Care for Kane or other community projects and what that meant to you. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you again tomorrow for day 22.